It's the book of Second Habakkuk. It's the book of Habakkuk chapter 2. Slovakia. Book of Habakkuk chapter 2. It's the book of Habakkuk chapter 2. And I'm going to go straight to the point, verse 3, and it reads, it says, "For the vision," meaning the prophecy, "is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, all glory to God, Elohim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as freedom to do so now more, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and Aqua, thought the listening and learning, Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, which appear like other nations subscribe to this truth. You, I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh coming at you another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahweh meaning he is, he exists, or he to be. Ba'ashem, Ba'as Hazdel, Shem his name. Yahushai meaning he saves, or he deliverer. True names of the Most High God and his Son, who these people ignorantly call God in Jesus Christ, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. And the lesson inspired by pretty much this lesson is inspired by a video that I saw by the guy Patrick Humphrey. So without further ado, I'm not trying to make this long, but the spirit do what the spirit do, like the brother said. So just trying, oh my God, trying to get in and out, you know.
$50 short this week. Apply for Atlas.
Just copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So I'm not profiting enough for this. I'm just kind of line up the information you're bringing out with scriptures. Lord willing, you get some edification. So
anything out of the sky, zap it up. This is big breaking news. The Golden Dome missile defense system is now being deployed and tested inside the United States right now. This system uses direct.
Hey, and what's spiritual about it is they call us, you know, conspiracy theorists or conspiracy theorists, you know, bugged out crazy. They call us all these different things, right? But these Edomites, these so-called white people, went and created a system that's supposed to actually deflect missiles. And who is the group that told you that this place was going to be bombarded and taken out by ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles? The elders and the apostles, you know, so that's, you know, very deep and spiritual to me. But, you know, again, no matter what they technology go, you know, the Iron Dome doesn't work like that. So what makes you think the Golden Dome gonna work? You know, it's the spirit too, because a lot of brothers been going into how the beloved elder went into that colonel or general or whoever he was that pretty much said that that's Nero. Gerald Salente said it as well. This bitch burning up financially, all this shit going on, and you making monuments to yourself. You know, and I can't say it was the elder, the beloved elder apostle, that was the first one that made mention of him being Nero that I heard, you know. So just food for thought.
Energy weapons to shoot down planes, missiles, or drones anywhere inside the United States. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see this was just announced by Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. He said today, the first milestone test of Golden Dome for America was a full mission success, and I was honored to witness it firsthand. Cutting-edge directed energy.
No, they saying they're using energy weapons because they say a lot of them. Well, I ain't say a lot, but you know, you got certain satellites or appear to be satellites in, the heavens that pretty much actually are actual weapons. Proof of that is with the DEW, weapons. And, that ties into what happened in Hawaii and, those lasers actually existing because, you had people come out and say, well, damn, if that was a fire, the cars wouldn't look like that. You had the car still intact, but the glass and the tires and all these different things melted, but the car was still intact. They got weaponry where pretty much they can like basically take out the people, but keep the city intact. The crazies, I heard brothers mention that movie. I watched it years ago, well before I came in the truth, but they supposed to have shit like this. Like, and again, it's not surprising. It ain't far-fetched. These people playing with your genome. They talk about you can buy a designer, but your baby can come out looking the way you envisioned it. So they just call themselves really taking the most high. These are some godless people. You know what I mean? Like, for real. And that's why they deserve every bit of what they're getting. I listen to the brothers from Cleveland. And, I don't know what's going on. May the Lord be with them brothers. Salaki, them brothers. And the one brother, the beloved brother, he said how we don't get no respect here. And then the Lord, so funny, the very next day or the second day, 2 days after hearing it, got put in a situation and I'm like, do you crash out? What do you do? It ain't that much humble in the world. Certain things as a man ain't gonna stand for. But at the same time, it's like the brother, he made a statement about that as well. He was like, sometimes the Lord will take you through certain situations from something that you dealt in the world to something that you might be dealing with in the truth and play it. He might remix it and send it back to you to see how you gonna handle it. The most powerful individual on the planet, our big brother, our Lord and Savior, was, the scriptures talk about humility come before honor, and think about that. Like, he had to pretty much suffer onto some people that pretty much were insignificant. I often, well, I ain't say often, I think about that from time to time, like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, how like certain fighters like Floyd, one of the characters, Floyd, I will give credit where credit is due because he, just like Lil Wayne said that pretty much, he honed his craft. So I don't see how he honed his craft because he didn't write. You know what I mean? That's a demon on him. But Floyd Mayweather did work out. He was constantly working out, And so he wouldn't drink. He might be up in everybody's face at the club, but he'd run home from the club. So he was disciplined, Something Adrian Broner said. He said, this is a one-man sport. He said, because again, he said, you waiting to motivate me. You got to motivate, what I mean? That's why he made the statement like Tyson did. He said, this is a lonely sport. And ultimately, it's beautiful that the brothers are around brothers. But again, you got to understand the Lord might not. Well, I remember when I was part of the camp and brothers was coming up with contingency plans. But you think every man going to make it to this location? You know what I mean? Like, everybody's lot is different. Just food for thought. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know the next man's lot. I don't know mine. I just know that I pray that the Lord don't take away the spirit. What would be the purpose? I'm fighting to hold on to the spirit. You know what I mean? Like, that's you know what I mean? Just to be stuck in this fucked up ass world. Like, this world is fucked up. And it's clearly just getting more and more wicked, These devils, why would you believe that this shit works so well when they weren't even telling you the truth about the number of soldiers that were getting injured in Iran? They wasn't letting you know anything. You know what I mean? And they got the technology to control the weather and do this and do that. I mean, they utilizing all these different things at once. What they call that I forgot what it's called. Pretty much like, again, they, remember a year or two back when they, you had those sundown towns wiped away because, right now I heard something about data centers, which through the spirit, I'm going to try to do a lesson on that because, some information I came across, but they talk about how they pretty much making the data centers on cemeteries. So they either building them on top of them, or they clearing out the grave. Which more than likely they're building on top of them. God, man, this is the son of perdition. He's a man of destruction. You know what I mean? Cities and towns is built on graveyards. You know what I mean? And that's fact. So the scriptures say, never trust thine enemy.
Is harnessed in the dynamic defense autonomous defeat system, flawlessly and autonomously cued, targeted, and eliminated a multitude of incoming threats. This test was executed on schedule and dynamically defeated.
Scripture's talking about being deceived. Don't be deceived. You know what I mean? Again, this technology is based off of something that, those Israelis have, those Khazars, Amalekites, and pretty much it does. I know a few elder brothers that went into that, like with just the fighting between Iran and Israel. Again, they'll use drones and attack. So if the Iron Dome is supposed to pretty much deflect these different attacks, no matter what it is, a drone, it's supposed to be just like that. Anything that's pretty much, because now America shit might be a little different, because again, they do have, they using direct energy weapons. That's what he's telling you. That's a laser, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Iron Dome is a little bit different. But remember when I did a lesson on this, on the Golden Dome, when I first came across it, when I think that was like last year or something like that, they said it was going to take years to develop this. They talking about they already got it. I guess so the scriptures again say, never trust thine enemy.
Every threat.
And everything is moving so quickly. The elder from Chicago went into, pretty much Trump and his Gerger troops. He's going to combine the city, the state, and the federal government, enforcement or law enforcement together. And that make a lot of sense. And that's why Trump was sitting up there talking about pretty much he don't think police officers should be held accountable for, their actions. Yeah, listen. You gonna choose what's that movie, Passenger 57? Oh, and that's deep too, because when you go into roulette, it's black and red. You know what I mean? Then I just thought about, and where's the Snipes, one of his catchphrases was what he say? Always bet on black. People put this trust in this red devil. Although we're not black, we're different shades of brown, but nobody's actually black. But Esau is actually red. He ain't white, because his blood shows forth through his skin, He doesn't have a abundance of melatonin, or melanin, like I say melatonin. So I'm rambling. Let me hurry and play. I'm trying to get to a point where he make his point and then bring out these scriptures.
So these are directed energy weapons that can essentially melt anything out of the sky, zap it out of the sky, right? These are very high.
And again, like I say, no matter what they're saying, they make it sound good. They dressing it up, but the scriptures tell you that it's prophesied for this place to be destroyed by men. And again, the thing is, even with AI, you know what I mean? Like, like you got to think about it. Like, it's amazing that shit's supposed to be to the mind. Like that shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can see the flaws because men are anything man made can be broken. You get what I'm saying? They making it seem like AI got a mind of his own when in actuality it's programming. And you're going to have a fucking program like make life changing or major decisions. You got motherfuckers talking about they going to worship AI. You got people talking about they want AI. You got to be pretty fucking lonely to, go and fucking get you a chatbot as a girlfriend. You might as well just go, what do you say? I'll buy that for $1. You know what I mean? Real shit.
High powered, and they can just light something on fire. All right.
That makes you, you talk about some weird shit. That's some weird old shit for real. You're going to sit up there and just have a relationship with a robot, huh? Come on, they already got motherfuckers buying sex bots and shit. Like, this shit crazy.
Here, I watched our elite warfighters integrate with next generation technology to stop incoming drones, cruise missiles.
And I can see AI powering it, you know what I mean? Like, again, because AI is supposed to be able to, think and process quicker than, individuals. When you go to the whole premise of Terminator 2, I mean, Terminator, the original Terminator, pretty much is based on the fact that the machines, just like iRobot, when you look at pretty much the plot of a lot of the movies like that, they all talk about how humanity is fucked up and the machine need to make more decisions for you. So they're all, like, I was listening to the beloved elder from Houston. He was like, "This is stupid." He was like, he said, "You think we condone this dumbass play?" He said, "This is like one of the stupidest," and it is though. You know what I mean? Like, but I can see why, you know what I mean? If you're going to have a panopticon, an all-seeing eye watching everything, I just don't trust technology, you know what I mean? And it's going to be horrible. You don't even want to be on the system. You might as well be like, fuck the system. Once this, because when you see like digital ID and all that shit, when you try to get like anything that you get from the system, from unemployment to food stamps, right? That like it's all pretty much automated. Like I go through so much shit just to try to do the shit. And I'll be like, man, it's very frustrating. I remember brothers was in the spirit of showing those videos about how it could look in a system, like when the system is pretty much, digital ID and integrated. When it's a problem and you need to speak to an actual person, because a person, I can't even log into the thing. I got to speak to a person. So what happens when you can't speak to no person? Your shit gonna get swept under the rug. You might, like on top of them controlling what you can buy, what you can. Man, it's funny. You got so much envy and whatnot. You'll see a person sitting up there. Oh, I wish I had this. You really don't wish you had that shit. Like if I can sustain without certain shit, I wouldn't even go to them for it. That's why I'm about to start. We gotta get off the system. We gotta, you know what I mean? Because you don't think they're going to target individuals that, the elders show you that when everybody got a stimulus but them. So if you don't think you being watched, you a fucking idiot.
Dead in their tracks. Traditional primes and emerging primes are competing, collaborating, and winning, delivering on President Trump's priority. This historic milestone was only made possible by the One Big Beautiful Bill, giving us the funding to deliver the ultimate shield to protect America.
Okay, so I'm going to end it right there because with the video. If you want to check that out, go check it out. But this Big Beautiful Bill did a lot of shit. It cut, programs and monies for people at a time when people needed the most, but it funded this shit. They funded ICE. I saw a post that was like, they should pay teachers $100,000 salary. They should pay off their college loans. They should do this, do that. And he said, just like they do for ICE. Because ICE is their enforcement. And then I forgot what the name of this different branch. It's a coalition of different agencies that's going to be pretty much DJ Trump's Gurger troops. And like I said again, any gang bangers, any drug dealers, like they're going to be able to pretty much deport you. Now, he was screaming that when he first came into office. But the funny part is this nigga, the biggest criminal out of biggest orange criminal, he ain't red. That nigga, he fighting the red. Don't you need red to make orange? I ain't did colors in so long, but the point is, this nigga talk about he got 70 felonies or something, but he said the man talk about you a felon, you a criminal. Ain't that about a bitch? So let me bring these scriptures out, because no matter what, the scriptures talk about vain imaginations, going to the heathen, but it's also going to this devil. This devil think he gonna create a system where he just gonna rule forever. And the cold part about it is the Lord got him in that mindset. The Lord, the scriptures say the deceived and deceiver are both his. So, again, the Lord got him in a trick bag. It's the book of, so even with their technology, it's not going to, it's not going to have the desired effect that they believe. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 15. He have swallowed down riches. This is referring to the red Hebrew Edomite, Esau, Edom, and shall vomit them up again. All the things you've taken from our people to these other nations, you're going to have to give back up. The Most High shall cast him out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asp. The viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. It said, according to his substance. And though this devil pretty much rule the world, the scriptures tell you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It says, according to his substance shall the restitution be. What's restitution? Let's look up the word restitution. I think it's a repayment or something like that. Because, sometimes, like, for instance, if you, like, catch a case, your fine might be, like, that's your restitution. You paying back because you committed this crime. Well, I was listening to the elder from Chicago. He was going into, like, when you go into Title 4, it's basically child support. He was going into how they done made this shit an enterprise. They don't really even concerned about the children. I bet you it's women that literally like got kicked off of EBT and all that. And child support is not a lot. It's 30% of your income. But like he said, you pretty much they supposed to sit you down and talk to you and say, okay, well, boom, can you sustain this? They supposed to make it, have you, but they don't do that. They don't even do that for the millionaires and the celebrities. Again, this is a system of just fuckery,
Strong's H8545. Temurah.
It says that which is exchanged, substitute, recompense, and, repayment. So you're going to have to pay for, your restitution is you're going to have to give up all that you got, which is deep. It says, verse 19, because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor. Who's the poor? Isaiah 10 tells you pretty much Jake, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians, God's true chosen people. Because he have violently taken away an house which he buildeth not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. Didn't he take this land by violence? And that's why, what's that, Numbers, I think 33 talks about the only way to shed the blood of this land is by the blood of him that shed it. You can see the tensions at an all-time high. For real. Like I say, again, to the point, I didn't watch none of that UFC, but to the point where that dude got up there and, I don't know if Michelle Obama a man, a woman, I don't know, I don't even rock with her, fuck her, fuck it, the nigga that, I know Obama's a weirdo, I've heard my little things, and then I've came across photographs of him being with, you could clearly see that this nigga a sissy. And Obama smiling and this nigga just looking like a female would. So that nigga probably got all the demons. But I will say this, though, it's disrespectful, you know what I mean? It's like, these Edomites, they sitting up here talking about nigga. Because they feel like niggas now. You know what I mean? The Lord done brought them to a lower state. Because the thing is, say for instance, you make $1,500 a week, making good money. But people that make that type of money have a huge lifestyle. You know what I mean? Most motherfuckers ain't sitting up there. The only person I heard that do like Jeezy, Jeezy said he would shop at McDonald's 3 times a day. He said that they had a dollar menu back then. So he'd eat breakfast there, he'd eat his lunch there, he'd eat his dinner there, and he would just save his money. I remember I was homeless at that time. Now you can't even, they had to bring back a fake dollar, or it ain't even a dollar menu. I think it's a value menu or some shit. This shit over with. It says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his going. So like look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Because again, they in a position to try to bring forth this NWO. And, they going to get it off the ground to a degree because it's actually like a trial, a test for the Lord's elect as well as for the people of the world, the hour in temptation, Revelation 3. So when he pretty much gets this thing up and running and, he's going to get some people, some people ain't going to be willing to suffer for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. but this thing is not going to be brought into full fruition. Like these, man, when you watch some of these movies where you like Alien and these Avatar, all these movies where, you know, they went off to another fucking world. Don't you see that that's what they plan on doing? Elon Musk said he made those Teslas in order to go on Mars, and they're going to basically be able to, because like when you take time to see what all his companies involve, it's all like space age futuristic shit. I remember I did a lesson on that. They was like, this nigga probably like Lex Luthor or something like that. Did he show you openly in his, when he was wearing that little satanic fucking warrior suit or whatever the fuck? Goddamn demon. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So while he thinking it's going good, the Lord gonna reverse the situation, reversal of fortune, Again, the deceiver and the deceiver are both his, because the Lord is with him in order to bring this thing forth, to manifest it. But at the same time, it wasn't meant for him to really rule forever. Like, he shall flee from the iron weapon, which represents the ICBMs. So they talking about they created this fucking golden dome shit that I guarantee you don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, Now, again, like I said, when you take the time, I heard the elder brother from Mississippi said that. He was like, it seemed like time speeding up, you don't get to do everything you need to do. That's how you know the world almost over with. This is, our punishment is almost fulfilled, He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and come up out of the body, yea, the glittering sword, which represents, ICBM. The modern day sword is the gun, but sometimes in certain instances, the sword represents the ICBM because a missile is shaped like a sword to a degree. He says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and come up out of the body. It said it shall strike him. So I don't give a fuck what you come up with to take that. And that's the Lord playing tricks on you. You ever seen that or heard that song about Ghetto Boys, My Mind's Playing Tricks on You? Yeah, he got you with a whole trick bag. It is drawn and come up out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword come up out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. So again, you got to think about it. Like they was talking about how America, just like how the infrastructure of this place, I noticed how they built pretty much like an avenue. At one point in time, you couldn't get from the east side to the west side or from the west side to the east side through this particular route. But then they developed it. And out of all the streets and roads that they work on, they don't work on anything else. They just work on this. It's called Opportunity Corridor, And they working every year they're working on this because you don't understand how concrete and all that shit work. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be maintained. And you can see like the elders was talking about, what was that, Brooklyn or the Bronx side, Pothole City or something like that. That ain't just there though. That's like all around the country. So no matter, just based on that, look, I'm going to show you how futile it is. These motherfuckers supposed to have all this strength and power, right? But they ain't even able to open the strait. But then I'm hearing that oil got through the strait. So again, you can't believe a brother titled a video, believe none of what you see and half of what you hear, something along the lines of that. If I worded it correctly, you can't trust none of this. Only thing you can trust in is Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah. Because I can say for myself, speaking as a man, the only the Holy Spirit has been pretty much, I ain't gonna say only the Holy Spirit because, well, the elders, I believe, have the Holy Spirit on them. So that's why what they're saying is true. You ain't trusting in them, you trusting in the Spirit. You know what I mean? The elders have been led me wrong in no kind of way. You know what I mean? I wish I'd have been able to, because sometimes you don't catch or, peep game, again, the Lord is merciful, but the doors of mercy shutting. So the Lord ain't gonna keep on allowing you to keep on doing the same dumbass shit. We supposed to be constantly growing, being refined, Okay, if you go, well, okay, the chastisement is supposed to be purifying you, not for you to keep on doing the same. Hey, and I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. I can't even see this shit. Second Ezra's, I'm gonna start at Ezekiel chapter 21 because I was talking about the sword. This is Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 8. Again, the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah came unto me saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shah, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. And that sword again represents those ICBMs. And no matter, I don't give a fuck if you got 20 golden domes. Like again, it's prophesied for this place to be taken out by ICBMs. And that's your hellfire. Verse 10, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? So should you be in a time of playing and joking and, you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a sense of humor. You know, actually, laughter and smiling is better for you than, you know, frowning and, you know, but at the same time, you know, we supposed to be in a state of mourning. I mean, what is it to be proud about? And I have to tell myself that, you know, it's beautiful that the Lord had mercy to open our eyes to this truth. Because again, I can only imagine where the fuck I'd be at right now. You know, I'm watching how certain these streamers, which some are, I mean, a lot of them dudes is talented, you know what I mean? In a lot of ways, you know what I mean? You know, some of the dudes can play sports. They can, you know what I mean? Like, they athletic. You know, the one dude, like, they said he was the top streamer at one point in time. So I don't know who is, you know, but this motherfucker on wrestling now. So, you know what I mean? He, and that white boy, Jake Paul, or no, his brother, he said shit, he could do anything. And he can, you know what I mean? You know, he athletic to the motherfucker. You know, he kind of goofy, you know what I mean? You know, but it says, you know, but that's what this world love. You know, this world will follow a fool. Look at all these people trusting in DJ Trump. Then now he pointing the finger at the oil companies. Nigga, you help the oil companies do this shit. What you talking about? And the oil companies don't give a fuck. He talking about they price gouging. He said, shit, oil's down to $70 a barrel, so why is they still charging $5 for gas? Think about it. It says, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contempteth the rod of my son as every tree. And he have given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened and is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. Yeah. And, you know, again, when you understand the mysteries to a degree, you know, this can be looked at in a multitude of ways. You know, Edom's going to come down with great wrath against Jake and the tribes, but at the same time, it could represent, you know, the hand of the slayer. You know, who the Grim Reaper? You know, puzzle that out. You know, who is the Grim Reaper? All right. Scriptures say that the Lord make alive, and the Lord killeth and maketh alive. Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with clothes of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it away? So like it, who may turn it back? And that sword again represents, you know, the ICBM, you know, the intercontinental ballistic missile. So again, no, that golden dome doesn't really mean nothing. That just show you their arrogance and pride right there. And again, this also is like confirmation. It should like uplift your spirit. They try to play with us like we just say again, so bugged out. Why did you create a weapon system to deter ICBMs? This place is considered the virgin daughter of Babylon because it's never been penetrated like that. You know, you got to remember when you know, you had England and America battling. That was Esau against Esau. You never had a foreign invader. But you will when they hit this bitch with all them ICBMs. They you know, a missile is shaped like something else too. So they gonna impregnate this hoe with death. You know what I mean? It says verse 4, a fire sent to bug you because, you know, ICBM is, you know, will bring that hellfire, that nuclear fire, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire and stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? Once you shoot an arrow, it's like a bullet. you shoot a gun, that bullet still, even though you might have shot in the air, that bullet got to land somewhere. You can't stop that. Just like when you release an arrow, like you can't stop that. It's already in flight. The Lord can stop it because what's impossible for man is possible with the Lord. Yahweh Shem Shine. That's why we putting our trust and faith in Him. We understand. Come on, I'm lowly and poor than a motherfucker. You know what I mean? I'm just grateful that the Lord constantly sustains and takes care of me. Again, and the Lord gonna try your patience and your faith. You know what I mean? Like Lord put you through some shit. Yeah, but ultimately that's for your betterment. You know what I mean? So you can have that unwavering faith. If you stick, I would say this much: if you stay true, like loyalty, is a trait that a lot of people don't possess. I'm speaking for men and women, because when shit get uncomfortable, if a person don't like. Now, I will say this: more men are more loyal than women. Just like men are more romantic than women. A woman got to have a man at 6 feet, making $100,000 a year. You not even worth $100,000. You in your mind, you think but a man, he'll take a woman that's off the street. It's a testimony on YouTube where a dude did that. Found a woman on the street, cleaned her the fuck up, and then married her. Because she probably so loyal to this nigga. But like Terrence Crawford said, he said when he won that fight against what's that nigga named Carnelo. He said that nigga was going through a divorce then. He said she was up there faking it, but he going through that. He was like, men stay, women leave. A man accept a woman and she done lost her looks and all that old shit. A woman, like I said, a lot of shit gonna get exposed too. Because again, when a woman ain't happy, she gonna go seek happiness from somewhere else. And you could be putting, you could be putting penis on her. You could be, if you giving her penis, you ain't got enough money. If you ain't got enough money, you know what I mean? Like it's never enough. Even Joe Budden, little faggot ass, said that one. He said, he said it was that comedian made that joke about. He said Adam and Eve was in the garden, and he said, "Damn, Eve, we got this, we got that." He said, "We live forever." He said, "We in tune with the earth. The animals obey us." He's like, "It's what else can we offer?" I forgot how he said it, but he was like, she was like, "Yeah, but what else?" Some shit like that. Like they did the little female that be on the show where they like, "What, you ain't find that funny?" Because all the men laughed, but she up there was like, she was just waiting for more or some shit like that. Because they never satisfied. So they gonna catch hell the hardest. You know what I mean? Again, a man could be disciplined. A man, I mean, it's not even about comparison of a man and a woman. Because I love women. I don't like them on the side like that because they out of order. You know what I mean? Everything's out of order. I've been out of order. We all out of order. We all try to get back in order. And the only way you gonna get back in order is coming to your power. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this place is so bugged out. Again, you got grown ass women 60 years old with purple hair. Like the fuck? And don't even understand that colors have frequency. That's why motherfuckers with red cars think they got the fastest car. It could be any red car. There's a whole spirit on that shit. It says, the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? I'm going to leave it right there because only the Lord can stop these things, and the Lord is not planning to stop them. You know what I mean? So again, your technologies, which the Lord, put that on your spirit. The scriptures tell you that man's goings is of the Lord. But the Lord go literally, like I said again, humble your ass. This is Jeremiah chapter 25 and verse 29. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city, which is called by my name, and should ye be utterly unpunished. Ye shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon the inhabitants of the earth, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah of hosts. Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words, and say unto them, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. Make me think of that's what that Isaiah something. I ain't read it in a minute, but it talks about I think it's like 60 something. I can't remember. or is it 47? I can't remember, but he talks about how Yahweh said he's going to tread like in the wine press. So he's going to tread on the people. Meaning like he going to stump on them, Scriptures tell you that the slain of the earth is going to be blood to the horse's bridle. I think that's in Revelations. Can you know how big a horse is? Think about that. Like some people can't even. A horse is well over 5 feet. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine, like I said again, some people can't even swim. So 5 feet will drown a person that can't swim. So the blood is going to be overflowing. That's how many people are about to get judged. Verse 31, a noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord Yahweh shall have a controversy with the nations. He will plead or judge with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord Yahweh shall, which in this instance is in regards to the ICBM, death by missile. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh shall of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. Verse 33, the point, and the slain of the Lord Yahweh shall be many that day from one end of the earth, even one end of onto the other end of the earth. From one end of the earth, even onto the other end. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be done upon the ground. I got the wrong scripture, but I ain't about to get it. I'm gonna end it with that. I was looking for the one that the earth shall shake from 2 to 4. I thought it was Jeremiah 20. Like a drunkard. The earth shall shake like a drunkard. Let me get it real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 24, verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, meaning back and forth. You never see somebody so intoxicated that they staggering because they can't, they can't keep their balance because they so inebriated. Says, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So again, back to whatever they call themselves doing, calling praying to Satan, this technology that they got, that they trying to implement, that they think that's going to preserve them. None of that shit going to work because it's prophesied that this place is going to be taken out, in a fashion that the whole world's going to view it. The whole world's going to see, oh shit. America's a big landmass when you take time to think about it. But the scriptures tell you that the smoke is going to reach up to the heavens in the book of Revelation, chapter 18. So that could be seen in the world without being on TV. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to see them ICBMs flying. They're going to see it hitting this bitch. They're going to see the smoke rising. And that's just prophesied. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, West Indian, Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Hakodash, the honors to the elders and to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and Akwat that they're listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edified. Shalom to the Israelite forwarders scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appear like the other nations. Subscribe to this truth to you. I say shalom. Till next time, Lord, willingly, shalom, shalom. Kwame Asharallah and Mawath Lababal.